Thugjitsu master and the squid.
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 Damn, you know, when that song comes on, you know what it means. Another episode of Thugjitsu Master and Squid Show.
I am the Thugjitsu master.
And I am...
He is the squid.
Damn right.
And we got a special guest in the house.
Sure do.
My main man, Tin Can, Charlie Brown, Mike Brown.
Right on. I love that intro.
You love that intro?
And I like to call you Mr. Squid.
Oh, wow. The crowd is losing their mind for him. Okay, and they abruptly stopped clapping. Abruptly.
They were like, shut up. So, we got Mike Brown here. Mike and I are sitting in the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are here for the Professional Fighters League playoffs. They start this week, October 11th, and we have the women's lightweight division and the men's welterweight division. The women's lightweight, we have 4 women that made the playoffs. They're going to fight to see which of them are going to move on to the finals for New Year's Eve. And then in the men's welterweight division, we have 8 men fighting. It's a really stacked division, and it's going to be a lot of fun fights come Friday night.
Cannot wait.
The men have 2 fights. The men have the quarterfinals and the semis. The women only have the semifinals.
I know. I want to see them fight more, but we're going to have to wait till New Year's, huh?
Yeah, we got to wait a little bit. I mean, it is a new division for the women. There's not a whole lot of 155-pound women. So we got the best women available at 155 pounds. And Mike is the coach of one of them, one of the young up-and-coming prospects, 2-time judo Olympic gold medalist, the only American to win gold in the Olympics in judo, and that's Kayla Harrison. Like, you've been putting in a lot of work with her.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Absolute beast, right? This is a special athlete, no doubt. Yeah, this tournament is exciting, man. I'm pumped for it all to go down. I think she's in a good spot. She's ready. She's maturing as a fighter. 5 fights now, so she's a MMA fighter now. So it's pretty damn cool.
So she's taking on Jenna Fabian.
Yeah.
Tough fight, a 6-foot-tall, 155-pound female.
Yeah, she's really big, bigger than I thought. Before we actually came to the last show we saw, I'm like, damn, she's pretty big girl, like tall and not skinny, like well muscled, you know.
Yeah, she is lean and muscular.
Yeah. But it's kind of a classic striker grappler matchup, right? This is the first fight also where Kayla has more experience than her opponent in MMA, so this is going to be a factor.
Yeah, Jenna Fabian 2-1 in her short career. She's in the playoffs. She's got looks like an 8-inch reach advantage in this fight.
Yeah, she's a very talented striker. You know, I think world class striker, but I think inexperienced in mixed martial arts. And Kayla's been fighting people with much more experience than her so far in her early career. Like right away, she's fighting people with like 8, 10, 15 fights when she had like 1 or 2 fights. You know, that's a big jump. So this is like the first time she's actually got more experience than her opponent. I think this is gonna.
I'm looking at her record here. Has a pretty big win in the kickboxing world with a win over Charmaine Tweet. I think that's
yes.
Yeah. That's a pretty big win. Lost a decision to Bobby Joe Dalziel back in Uniondale, New York, where I'm from.
Uniondale? Is that what you call it now?
That's what we used to call Uniondale, yeah.
So, with this fight, though, Mike, this is the best striker that Kayla has fought. This is the most accomplished and the best striker that Kayla will step in the cage with. She does have the advantage, or she does have the numbers on her side as far as MMA experience and MMA fights.
Right.
But both of these women are coming into MMA from different sports.
Right.
And Jenna has a real competency in her striking, and again, she is the best striker that Kayla will have faced.
Without doubt.
How are you guys approaching that?
I mean, you could guess, right? It's hit her to the ground. you
Right.
know. She's got a lot of reach to make up for. You got to do what she does. Obviously, she's got to stay safe, get in close, clinch somehow, and drag her to the floor. And I think if she gets there, it's going to be real difficult for Jenna to get back to her feet. It's I think Kayla's the best female grappler on the planet, probably. Right? This is a elite level, 2-time Olympic champion.
There was I think it was on mixedmartialarts.com today. There will never be a female grappler as good as me. Was the quote from Kayla Harrison? Very very confident.
She's not shy.
You got to tell the fight. Yeah.
She's not shy at all about her skill set.
No, I mean, but there's some truth to that, right? She.
There is.
I mean, it's pretty impressive. No Americans ever won an Olympic gold in judo, and she's done it twice. So
it's an interesting perspective because most people say I'm the best of all time. People say I'm the best that ever will be. I like that. That's really bold. There'll never be one as good as me.
Never in the history of
Not
ever.
like up until now I'm the best. There might be someone better to come down the road. No, I'm the best now, and then 100 years from now, still the best grappler.
When aliens come to this planet, Kayla will still be the best grappler.
yeah, when there's cyborgs out there.
How I remember a while back she said she can beat Khabib in a judo match. I'm sure you were a former world champion. How does she toss you ever? Is there any truth to that statement that she could beat Khabib? Khabib's a pretty big guy.
That quote gets taken out of context big time. She said something to the effect like, "If I was in a guy's body, I could beat Khabib." That was the quote that she said, and it gets like twisted, and I think she gets a lot of hate for it.
That changes it up.
Yeah, if you
Clickbait.
It is. It was total. You know how it is.
Yeah.
It was total clickbait. It was some big headline. I don't even remember the website anymore, but it was complete clickbait. And she said, like, I think if I was in a guy's body, if I had a guy's body, which she doesn't have, obviously, she's a smart girl and down to earth and knows what she's capable of, and men are just so much stronger that it'd be a big factor. I think it would be interesting, putting like a world-class guy in a gi and see how she does. Like a wrestler who doesn't know judo, it'd be interesting to see because she's the only girl I've ever met who can wrestle live with college level wrestlers. Like really wrestle with them, Men. Some of them a little smaller, but like because it takes so much strength, so much like upper body physical strength to do it. Like she can actually scrap with like good, like I've seen her like toss like college wrestlers, throw them, and they scramble, and one's on top, the other's they fight for position and scramble and battle, but you don't see that with guys and girls because there's so much strength involved with wrestling, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
So how does Kayla look in the jiu-jitsu classes, in the open roles? Like how does she do there with some of the men and of course with the women?
She does. I mean, with the girls, it's tough because it's like it's hard to get her proper training because she's like kind of too big for all the girls, right? She's kind of too big and too strong, except for like Amanda. But Amanda's kind of been on separate schedules. Like she's been when she's in their fights for whatever reason have been on completely different time frames. So Amanda will be in Brazil when Kayla's getting ready, and vice versa type thing. So
Kayla's in Brazil when Amanda's getting ready.
I mean, she's on vacation, she's at home, or she's doing whatever, So they haven't had a lot of training time recently, but for the most part, it's like finding guys that. And our gym is full of monsters like world-class pros. So finding guys that are good level for her to go with, because most of the girls she's too big and strong for, and then a lot of the guys are too big and strong for her because they're world-class professional guys. So we need to usually find, for grappling, it's like 135-pound men, who's who she goes with, and then for striking, we usually have her go with guys that are maybe beginner guy strikers or amateur level fighters, that's who she goes with and scraps with them.
That is very interesting to hear. I always wondered what you guys did because she's very strong and like But there is a balance. There's a difference between guys and girls and how their bodies are and the progression of the sport still. And it's interesting to see that you put them with 35-pound wrestlers. That kind of makes sense. I wrestled in college a little bit. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, she'll probably be like a little heavier than them, like 10 pounds
Yep.
heavier than these guys, and they'll be like college level wrestlers, and they'll scrap. And it's good. That's what you want, right? A good even battle where they're both giving some and taking some. You don't want it one way. And I like it when they're going live. I don't like when it's a guy dumbing it down and giving, because then you don't know what's real and what's really working. If a guy's just giving the girl a takedown and just being a dummy, it's you never know what really is truly working and evolving.
Yep. I get that. That makes perfect sense. Now, there's been a lot of talk all season about her and Sarah Kaufman potentially being the finalist. The way the brackets have fallen, both of them win their fights. That's how it's going to end up. Now, because there's been so much talk about it, does that matter to Kayla? Is that a fight that she wants?
Dude, I think honestly, Larissa Pacheco is a big problem, man.
I agree.
This is not an easy fight
for Sarah Kaufman.
Not at all.
I completely agree.
She might be, she's very big. She's very relaxed, disciplined, well-rounded. I was just going back and look at some of her old fights, dude. She lost. I mean, the girl everybody she's lost to was like a UFC champion or a former UFC champ. She lost to Jermaine Durandamy when she was 20 years old. And technically she's way bigger, way better. She's way better technically, way bigger physically. Night and day. I just watched that fight recently. I rewatched that old fight.
Yep.
And she was tough as nails, but she was in the UFC at 20 years old. She wasn't ready to even be in there, and so she has a couple losses early in her career, but she's very good. And she's still really young, so you know how it is that she's evolving quite a bit all the time.
She's evolving, and I remember talking to her because her first fight of the season against Kayla, that was on short notice.
Yeah.
She took that real short notice. I think it was like 6 days. And she seems, or what she said is that she's the kind of fighter that likes to prepare for an opponent.
Yeah.
She didn't have the time to study Kayla, to work on specific strategies for Kayla. And she fought hard the entire time. Kayla was the bigger woman in there. Kayla dominated position, but she was in the fight. Like she was never in threat of being finished. She was never in a position that we thought she was going to be taken out of there. And then for a moment, she was able to get Kayla's back for a second. But then in her second fight, she was able to prepare for her opponent.
Yeah.
She knew what Bobby Joe DL was all about. She got to study for her. She got to train for her and go in there and affect her game plan. And she looked like a very different fighter. So coming in, knowing Sarah Kaufman, knowing for months that she's facing Sarah Kaufman, having all the time to prepare specifically for Sarah Kaufman, this is not, and she is the bigger woman.
Much bigger.
She's bigger. She's younger. She doesn't have the experience, but she has a high level of experience.
Yes.
So I agree. This is not an easy fight.
She was on the Ultimate Fighter show.
Yep.
She was fighting. She's fought Jessica Andrade.
Jermaine Durandamy.
So UFC champions. These are the people she's lost to.
She was 10-0 with 10 finishes before she lost to Andrade and Durandamy.
Right.
So
and she was very young at that time, very young, only 25 years old, probably improving all the time right now. And when physically she looks completely different. Also, when she lost to those girls, she was like
Leaner,
really thin.
Yep.
Wasn't as big and nowhere near as skillful as she is now. Like
that was 5 years ago. She was 20 years old when she lost to Andrade. Yeah, that's a lot can happen in 5 years.
Yeah, and especially in those early years, right? Dude, honestly, I think she might be in the finals.
That's
your tip of the week, right there.
That's the Mike Brown tip of the week.
Yeah, I don't know what the line's gonna be.
Yep.
But that's one worth looking into.
We're here in Vegas.
That's right.
Yeah, because I'm looking at Sarah Kaufman's record. She's 21-4. Her opponent's 12-3. Pacheco's 12-3, but she's got no wins over any UFC champions. It looks like. So.
And Kaufman is a great fighter.
Misha Tate, actually, she beat Misha Tate back in the day in Strikeforce. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she was Strikeforce champion. She was like, one of the pioneers, one of the best. She might have been number one in the world at one point. I don't remember the rankings back during that time.
I would think so, yeah, because she was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-0 until she lost to Marlos Conan in Strikeforce. But she was undefeated for about 5 years.
Yeah, she might have been like number one in the world for a period of time.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I think the big factor is size. Not that she's not as skilled.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Larissa's size is going to be the problem.
And that's a big deal when you talk about it. You look at the 45ers now, you look at the 55ers now, in the days of Strikeforce, when Strikeforce was still around and we were at 45 and 55, the guys that are fighting now, they're a lot bigger, right?
Yeah.
Sarah Kaufman is from that era.
Yes.
And Larissa Pacheco is from this new era.
Yes.
And there's that size advantage.
Yeah.
Also, she has the advantage of having a better textbook.
Yes.
She didn't start. She isn't making all the mistakes. She didn't have to make all the mistakes that we made or that Sarah had to make in that time of MMA.
Yeah.
So this is not an easy fight for Sarah Kaufman.
The striking is now at a much different range than it used to be.
Yes.
And so that length is more important. The length of the fighters as time is as the sport's evolving is changing, right? The body types, the length is so important, right? More striking involved. Everybody's fighting at a really far distance. You don't sit in the pocket and duke it out
Trade,
anymore.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Score and don't get hit.
So
Interesting.
this whole diatribe went off because of my question about Kayla, if this is a fight that she really wants with Sarah. So who would Kayla like to see in that match? Does she want the Sarah Kaufman fight, or does she think Larissa Pacheco in a rematch is a different opponent? Do you have any idea?
I don't think she thinks too much about it. She's pretty like, all business, and I think it takes one at a time. I don't know if she's actually given me her opinion about which one she would prefer. Personally, I would probably rather see a new challenge, right? It's always fun to try to solve a new puzzle, right? It's unless there's a real necessary for a rematch, but she's already fought Larissa once, so I mean, I think the new challenge, and Sarah, former #1 fighter in the world, tons of experience. She's the one with like a better pedigree. Would be a more interesting fight.
$1 million fight.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
$1 million fight. I love the PFL Finals. I went last year, and it's special seeing all those guys win $1 million. It's a great way to start the year too. It's a very special night. Madison Square Garden, New York City, $1 million.
It's a whole mood.
Whole move.
Life changing.
Yeah, it truly is. It's not like those other conversations we've had about life changing money. That really is life changing money, and I don't know. I mean, back when we were in our primes, there were no $1 million tournaments, and that was something I really didn't expect to see anytime soon. But 3 fights for $1 million, that's a huge deal. That's a big opportunity, and I know a lot of fighters that would love to have a shot at that. So as the PFL continues, and more and more eyes get put on it, and these checks keep not bouncing. These checks are flat as hell.
Yeah, man.
They got no buoyancy to them. So as that happens, I think more guys are going to look to make that $1 million, and as the PFL get bigger and that purse increases, that's going to be much more attractive.
It's a great place to be. I'm interested in seeing now Ishii in there, right? They've added some new talent this season, some fighters that old. I love seeing some of the old school fighters. Yep. This is what interests me. I love that time period. Some of the older, UFC veterans, Pride veterans, people that you're familiar with, mixed in with some of the new young blood. I love that feel.
It's good for those guys too to maybe get some end their career on that final financial note too, to cap it off the right way, because Ishii's career probably isn't that much longer. I would assume.
Yeah.
I-
How old
I-
is he? No,
Let's see.
How old is
Ishii.
Ishii? I think he's pretty young. I think he's
Yeah.
like 32.
Yeah, he's still in his athletic prime for sure.
So he came into American Top Team for a while.
Yeah,
I was training him there.
that was a while.
That was easily 10 years ago.
He's 32.
Yeah.
Dang, good call. Good
Wow.
call. So he was really young.
Yeah,
back
he
then.
was like a 22-year-old.
Wow.
20
So he
something.
won the
Wow.
Olympics, right? And then must have jumped right into MMA right away.
Immediately.
Wow.
Immediately.
Yeah, he had his first fight December 31st, 2009. So 10 years ago. He lost a fight in Dynamite, Japan. But then went on a pretty good run. Got his record up to 12-2. Beat Jeff Monson, Sean McCorkle, Tim Sylvia, Jerome LeBanner, Ikuhisa Minoa. So got some pretty good wins even back in the day, right out the gate.
I remember that. I mean, he came to American Top Team. Remember Laborio, Ricardo Laborio, pulled me aside and he's like, "You're a southpaw. Work with this kid." And I worked with Ishii for a bit with his striking. He didn't speak any English. I got him to throw me around with some of his amazing judo throws. And now he's trained with Kokop. Speaks English fluently. Speaks Croatian fluently. Of course, he speaks Japanese.
Him and Krokop keep putting out like funny videos together, which I think is like the cutest thing ever. The two of them putting out these like funny videos, of them like spinning and kicking soccer balls, and I was like, hey, Krokop's really coming around on the social media these days. He's opening up. He used to be a very cold man.
Yeah. Now he's turned into like a granddad.
You're right, yeah.
He's only he's got 12-2 is his record right now.
No, he's 22-9, but that was the height of his career before he fought Krokop twice and got mauled by Krokop those
I was
times.
gonna say he's not very active then. That's what I was thinking. But
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
No,
And then
he's gone to KSW, Serbian fights, Bellator, Ryzen. He's been around everywhere except for UFC, really.
And that's the heavyweight division. Those guys are coming up on Halloween. So that's going to be a fun Halloween night. See some of the big guys beat each other up.
See who wears a costume. See who wears costumes.
Cut to the ring, right?
Yeah.
We got the welterweights on Friday night, and we have 8 tough guys fighting. We got Glyco França versus Andre Fialho. Then we have John Howard and David Machad. And on the other side, the other brackets are Sadabusi and Ray Cooper. And then we also have Chris Curtis and Magomed Karamov in a rematch. We're going to see rounds 4 and 5 of their fight. So, like those matchups, those are all fun. I see those things happening multiple ways. I think some people may sleep on the fact that Andre Fialho is the 8th seed. He only had 1 fight, but style-wise, I think his style is very tough for Glyco França. Fialho trains with the former Black Zillions. He's with those guys at H3. Robbie Lawler's there, Kamaru Usman, Michael Chandler, and Fialho has shown some good takedown defense in his fights. Real competent boxing, good boxing and kickboxing, and that's what França is going to want to do, take this fight to the ground. And if he gets stuffed, it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be very dangerous for França. How do you see that fight going, Squid?
Me, I probably lean toward França. He's undefeated through the season. Looks good. It's so tough. It's tough when the guy's got to fight twice in one night. I do, after going to, I think I went to 3 playoffs last year, and you did see guys fight in certain ways like they were anticipating a second match rather than emptying their gas tank. That was one thing I noticed, that guys were anticipating that second fight. It seems mid that first fight, which I like and I don't like, but guys are counting their chickens before they hatch. I like Glyco. He's put up a lot of points. He's got finishes this season. I think he's a finisher.
I love the multiple fights in one night. I love watching it anyway.
Yeah.
I just love that feeling.
That's how you create
Feels
new
like
fans. You can create
Did you
new
ever do
fans
one,
like
Mike?
that.
Only one time ever, and then I lost, so I didn't fight again that night. It was like the quarters were one night. A month later, were semis and finals were in the night, and it's the night I lost to Imanari.
Okay.
So I didn't go on.
I've done
But
it
you-
I've
That
done it
was
3
Zest?
times.
No, it wasn't Zest.
That was deep.
deep. Okay.
Oh,
deep.
deep. Yeah, Steve's still around. Deep's still
Yeah,
trucking
still
along.
kicking.
Yeah.
And you tournaments, I'm sure you.
I
were
did
in.
a couple tournaments, smaller tournaments, a couple tournaments locally in Texas, Renegades, and a few, and then Pride Bushido tournament. I also lost a split decision in that tournament, so
Yeah.
I didn't get to fight my second fight that night. Lost a split decision to Joaquin Hansen.
What's the most you ever fought in one night? How many fights?
4 one day.
Dang,
4.
that's cool, man. That's building your record up right there.
I did 4 in a week. I did.
That's-
I did that 8-man tournament that Joe Lozon won years ago. I lost in the semifinals.
Really?
Yeah, I fought in that, and then I ended up fighting in like the Underground Combat League, like the New York No Rules fighting, and I fought 2 guys that just shouldn't have been fight. Like, I don't. They must have pulled them right out of karate class and threw them. I was like, I don't want to fight these dudes, but I kind of do. I got people here.
Nice.
So I mauled this one guy, and I was like, I kind of want to do it again. There was just like another, like, he must have been 120 pounds, the second guy I fought. I was like, I'm just going to take you down and hit you. Just go with it. Just go with it.
Dude, easy on the karate. I used to say all kinds of terrible things about karate until I met Kyoji Horiguchi. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
realized, like, damn, this shit can work, man. This guy is a ninja.
It can, but usually it doesn't.
No. It's not. Well, it's the thing. It's not all karate is equal.
Right.
Like, it's how they're training, and I'd say 99% of them aren't training like fighters, right? You're talking about
Yeah.
mom and pop American style, like, but dude, some of like, and I think now with the sport evolving, you're seeing more and more of the footwork all the time, right? I just think back in the day when, when MMA just started, first it was being dominated by grapplers, right? Like jujitsu guys, right? And then it just so happened that the first strikers that started learning grappling were like, they were learning Thai boxing.
Yes.
But if all the wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys were studying karate instead, that would have been, I think, equally as effective if they were keeping a far distance, scoring, getting out. I think it's maybe a safer range.
Definitely a safer
you
range
know
in
what I'm
Thai
saying?
boxing.
With the little gloves, with the tiny little gloves. I mean, everything has its part, but you see more and more of the karate footwork and karate style in today's MMA than ever before.
Yes, but the karate guys that are successful are exceptional. The karate and the taekwondo guys that are successful are exceptional. Those are the guys like Pettis, Kyoji, Machida, Wonder Boy, and they come along few and far between.
But Kyoji, to me, he's phenomenal, like unbelievably good. But I asked him, like, hey, wow, you're so good. Were you ever like, national champ or world champion in karate? He's like, no, never won anything, nothing. And
I was a scrub.
well, no. Well, but he said the big reason too, though, was because it was like there was no weight classes, and he was short.
Yeah.
So that's a big factor.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he was the best karate guy in the world.
And what style of karate was it? Kyokushin? Is that
No,
his style or
no,
a
Shotokan.
Shotokan karate.
And for him, like any other karate, no good.
Oh, good.
Good.
No board breaking and katas.
No, but
All that stuff.
yeah.
I wonder if mixed martial arts has put out some mom and pops board making shops. I don't know if people still breaking boards these days. I see some on Instagram.
Eve does.
All the time.
I would love to wake up and just have a board, like start my day like, ka-cha, okay, time to take a shower. Let's get after it.
I thought you were gonna say time to take a shit.
But also we got like Wonder Boy, right? He's
Yep.
effective. Gunnar Nelson uses
Gunnar
like,
Nelson.
Gunnar
Yeah.
Nelson
Karate
used it
work well.
nicely.
Yeah.
Steve Jenham.
He was a
Jenham.
ninja, dude.
That's his favorite guy.
He was a ninja, dude.
Ninjutsu, yeah.
Yeah.
Ninjutsu.
We gotta see how many episodes you can reference Steve Jenham.
I reference Steve Jenham as often as possible. He's a police officer.
Dude, from Omaha, Nebraska.
He's a man.
You know, I trained in that style. Robert Bussey's Warrior International.
You did?
That was the first thing. That was the first grappling I ever
You
did.
seem like
They were in the
cool.
Bahamas. They had a gym in the Bahamas. They
You
had
seem like a Robert Bussey guy.
And Scott Morris got his face elbowed in by Pat.
Oh.
Pat
Who
Smith.
would be the best karate fighter of all time in mixed martial arts?
Jason DeLucia.
No, who for real?
For real.
Well,
I I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the argument is between Machida because he held the
UFC
world
champ.
title, right?
Yeah. Kyoji is now rising in Bellator champ, so he's still there.
He's in the
and
argument.
he's still has a long way to go.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of
GSP
career.
was karate, right? GSP was karate. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That is true.
That's very true.
He used it pretty good. It's interesting.
Yeah, like Robert Whitaker's like footwork looks like he has a lot of like karate
in his
influence.
background, yeah.
Yeah, I love the use of the straight line. Fighting on a straight line is nice.
It's fast. It's most direct.
And I mean, I think it's really good, especially if you're a shorter guy,
Yeah.
right? Trying to use like boxing footwork, it's difficult to get because guys are running or not running or moving so much. It's hard to, unless you're blazing fast, to get to them and get out. Really difficult.
It's hard to make that angle.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to create that angle with boxing footwork.
Has Kyoji anything booked? Is he part of any of this dual promoted card that they're doing? I know today they announced Fedor Rampage, and I know that there's a Bellator card on the 29th. And there's a Rising card on the 31st. Is he part of any of that festivities as far as fights?
He's gonna be. Looks like he's gonna fight New Year's.
Okay, so he'll fight on the 2 days after the Bellator one.
30th,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
31st.
So now we're talking about some of your other guys. There is a Squid. Is there anything more that you wanted to discuss in relation to the playoff tournament coming up?
I did. I did want to talk about a little bit about you. You spent a little time in Sweden helping some prep, and I am curious about that Ray Cooper or Sadabusi match. Ray Cooper had a poor final showing last year, and I'm just kind of curious about it. I like the two fights in one night, and I think that fight can wear both guys out.
I do like the fight. I like the fight for multiple reasons. I like the fight as a broadcaster. I also like the fight as a fight fan. I like the fight as an individual who has a personal relationship with both those guys. Ray Cooper is a good guy. He's a fun guy. A lot of power, and he likes to look for the big shot. Sadabusi, another good guy, another striker. He has a ton of experience in kickboxing. He has about 70 or 80 kickboxing and Muay Thai fights, so he's got a good background there. He's really young in mixed martial arts, but he's athletic. He's long and lean, and like Mike, you being one of the shorter guys at 145 pounds, you fought some tall guys, and is a lot of people have complained, or not complained, but have mentioned a lot of times you fight these tall, lean guys, and you think they're going to be frail, but they have some strength. And Sadabu has good balance. I was working with him on his takedown defense. He has good balance and good natural instincts, but he didn't have a knowledge of exactly some of the things that he should do to prevent the takedown. So helping him with some of that, I feel like that helps. He's already got good balance. Ray's a shorter guy, a big puncher. And I see potentially this fight going similar to my fight with Jeremy Stevens. The height differential isn't the same, but Jeremy Stevens is a big puncher and he comes in hard. Sadabu is a striker. He's a sniper and he likes to stay outside and he's long. So I can see Ray Cooper running into something if he wants to rely on that power and not try to take this fight to the mat at every opportunity.
Yeah, he just got knocked out. Like I'm always curious to see how guys do after they get knocked out. Especially the way he got knocked out. That was all over the internet, all ESPN. Yeah, I always wonder what that does to someone's spirit after they get KO'd in that fashion, and then turn on the TV and it's just your face getting knocked out. And then go to your Instagram and it's every other MMA post and.
In there.
It's a fast it's a fast turnaround too. It's not like the UFC where you can say, hey, I want to take a little time off. This was that 2 months ago he got not even 2 months ago he got KO'd like that, and now he's fighting back on ESPN again. Good redemption, but I am worried coming off of a brutal knockout loss like that.
That's the weird thing too about PFL. It's like if you have an injury or something like this, the dates are locked. There is no pushing back fights, right? So you probably have a lot of guys going in there more banged up than normally, right? Because hey, it's these are the dates where the $1 million are going to be won. You can be there or don't, but
Yeah.
somebody's winning it. You
Yeah.
know, so
The schedule is not, it's not applying to you.
yeah,
Not complying to you.
yeah. So
And-
that's very interesting.
And then the other matchup I guess I want to talk about is the number 2 and 7 seed Magomed Karamov in the rematch against Curtis. Because I just find that so interesting that I think Curtis was starting to figure stuff out later in that fight, and now he can just kind of pick up right where he left off. Makes for a really good fight and really good chance for Curtis, especially he got to fight him, lose a decision, go to the playoffs where it really matters. But he now knows what it feels like. He touched him, he felt him. You got that knowledge.
Yeah, he got that knowledge, but he's got to figure some things out. I don't know if you saw that fight, Mike, but there was a point where Magomed had his back, and Curtis he was on his back for quite some time. Curtis didn't seem to have an answer, so much so that he turned around and started talking to him. I don't know if he was trying to convince him to let him out of that position or what, but like you're not going to convince that guy to just let you go. You got to figure out the technique and you got to work yourself out of there. Magomed broke his hand in that fight. And he was still throwing punches. I don't know if that's just toughness or that's just a Russian thing, but he was still throwing punches with that broken hand. He broke it in the first round. In the third, he's still throwing significant punches with that hand. So that tells us how tough that guy is. This fight, the onus though is on Magomed. He won the first fight. One of those judges scored that fight 30-26, so he gave him a 10-8, and Chris knows what adjustments he needs to make. Now, has he made those adjustments? I know he's here in Vegas. He's been training at Extreme Couture. Vinny Magalesh is there. I'm sure if you want to pick anybody's brain about escaping the back, Vinny Magalesh is a great guy to have in your back pocket. So if he's really been doing the work, he has some opportunities. His striking is good. He can compete with Magomed on the feet. His takedown defense is good, but it's just that when he got taken down, Magomed was able to control him and hold those positions. And if he can get out of those positions, this is going to be a very different fight.
I think Magomed Karamov is one of the best fighters that they have in the PFL. He's a complete package, very well rounded, can wrestle, can strike. He's long, he's game, very high level guy. He won the tournament last season. He's as good as they come. And
he trains at American Top Team at times.
Yeah.
You watch him sometimes?
Yeah, he's very good. Very good. That's and like he's I think he's complete package. Like physically, mentally, and well rounded. So I think he's one of the best fighters in the organization.
I agree. And I've said the same thing about Magomed. I've said that I believe he's the best fighter in the PFL.
Yeah.
All right, then now transition point. What button can I press? What's a good transition? Okay, damn. Okay,
that's a hell of a transition.
Hey,
we're gonna keep it in American Top Team mode. The baddest motherfucker belt. I'm curious about your take on this belt.
You talk about Masvidal, like talk about coming up, like moving up to 170. He just kind of slow, not even quietly. I mean, he made statements every time. The Cowboy fight, the Darren Till fight. But, man, the statement he made against Ben Askren, and now, fighting for that BMF title with Nate Diaz, that's a fight I enjoy. I like both those guys. I like those guys for the same reason. Besides their skill set, I like those guys for the same reason I like Robbie Lawler and Joe Schilling, because those guys are always themselves. No matter what situation you put them in, they're not trying to put on for anybody. They're just going to be who they are all the time. And I appreciate that. I love that, and I appreciate that. And I can't wait to see that fight, man. Their styles are similar. They're coast gangsters, East and West Coast. That Florida versus California. They got a lot of respect for each other, and I think that also is going to elevate both their games. They're both going to come out, fight hard. I think Masvidal wins this fight because of the skill set in wrestling. I think Nate probably has the better jiu-jitsu if you want to compare jiu-jitsu technique for technique. But Masvidal is no slouch on the ground, not at all, by a long shot. But his wrestling is light years ahead. And I think the boxing is very similar. I think Nate's more of a volume, and Masvidal can go volume, but I think Masvidal is slightly better technique and more accurate, more power.
And has a more well-rounded like kickboxing game.
Yes.
Where it looks to me like Nate spends a lot of time in boxing gyms, but isn't working on the kicking game.
On the
as much.
kicking aspect of it, no.
Yeah,
He
and
kicks-
as a coach, don't go out there and press the 5-second knockout button. I want to get a longer fight here. Let's not let's give the fans what they want. I want to at least get 2 rounds out of this.
I think
Two good
fans were pretty happy with it. 5 seconds.
I was happy with it.
I was there. I was there. I think I might have told you. Yeah, I told you. I was up in like the horribly dangerous bleachers at the T-Mobile Arena. The like crazy angled bleachers they have up there. And when he knocked him out, my whole area went like nuts. And this one guy slips and bumps into this like couple, and they end up falling like 5 or 6 rows, and like all sorts of people got like hurt. And like it was the craziest like 10-15 seconds of my life. Because this crazy knockout happened, and all of a sudden, I'm like, where'd they go? And this couple just got super hurt, and then paramedics, and I was like, oh my God, what a wild 10-15 seconds.
For real, like paramedics had to
Yeah,
come?
yeah. Then a fight broke out. The guy must have went like 7. One dude went like 7 or 8 rows down. He just like tumbled. Boo, 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 boo. I was like, oh my God, did I see someone die and like the fastest knockout ever? Everyone's still cheering, and everyone's like kind of looking, where'd those people go? Yeah, then paramedics came. They had to take out 2 people. I think one girl like might have broke her leg. I think someone landed on her leg and broke her leg. Yeah, it was quite amazing.
Masvidal says you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, it just the energy just goes out. Everyone's getting knocked out and hurt. It's just a synergy of energy that happened right there.
It was incredible, right? Fastest KO in UFC
Just in history.
And the build up, the undefeated,
For me,
world champion in Ben Askren, this elite wrestler, and the talk, the build up was incredible.
the most impressive part of all of that for me was the video that you posted of you guys drilling that the night before.
Yeah.
And when you line it up, it's how you scripted it.
Yeah.
Like to the second, it's how it's scripted, and that blows my mind. I was on Rogan's podcast a couple of weeks before that fight, and I was talking about Masvidal being the best guy that nobody really understands how good he is, and I still don't think we've seen it. Like his fight IQ, like Masvidal is very complete. High fight IQ, like he can wrestle with Division I wrestlers. He can box with Olympic level boxers. His jiu-jitsu, like the only guys that are tapping Masvidal are like Marcelo Garcia.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's just walking through him like that. Like he's so dedicated to the game. He's been dedicated to the sport ever since before I knew him personally. And I mean, we talk about guys try to avoid Hector Lombard. He's the one that's sparring with Hector Lombard all the time at 155 pounds. He's sparring, he's drilling and wrestling with Yoel. He's wrestling with Yoel Morel. He's also wrestling with the little guy, Alexi Villa, right? He's just drilling technique with the best guys in the world.
Yeah, no ego. If there's somebody there better than him, he'll want to go with them every day.
Every day. And
I learn a lot from him, man, because he's such a student. He has so many techniques. Like every camp I train with him, I actually pick a bunch of stuff up too, because he's working on stuff, new stuff, and I'm learning some of it too. It's a lot of stuff that I don't know what he's doing half the time, but he has such a in-depth knowledge of like Muay Thai, Taekwondo, boxing,
wrestling.
Yeah, like his main coach that he's had forever is like a Taekwondo background, Paulina Hernandez, so he's got like really some tricky stuff that he can. I mean, the fight where you saw him let loose and let some of it go was like the Allen Berger fight.
Yeah.
When he starts getting loose, he is so unpredictable because he can do everything, dude. Like spinning heel kicks. Like he's got a lot of weapons in that arsenal. I think more than anybody that he can pull from. It's pretty cool.
Have you seen the belt yet, or any designs?
I have not. I have not seen the BMF belt.
Damn, I'm curious.
I don't know if it's been released yet.
It hasn't. I just know you're on the inside track.
No, I don't know about that yet.
I don't know. I don't know. I think you saw it. Yeah, I think you saw it.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, I heard a name in there of Hector Miguel Lombard Pedrosa. Hector Lombard announced today, or maybe yesterday, he's fighting in the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, or Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Man, I'm not gonna miss that.
I am not gonna miss that.
Hector's
a violent
dude.
I know.
That's a scary dude. Not missing that one.
I heard about that earlier today myself, and it's definitely something I want to watch. Also, I'm assuming it's the bare knuckle. That's definitely not the one where everybody didn't get paid, because you know how to not pay Hector Lombard.
I think when I saw I think I saw on Instagram where he posted it. I was all by myself and I just like smiled. Yeah, this is great. This is gonna be awesome. And then I think I text Dan Lambert, said,
Now, is he still at ATT?
This? No, he's at his he's got his own little space nearby the gym.
Okay.
But he's a monster, man.
He's still Hector Lombard.
Yeah, you gotta watch him fight.
Still. And then I guess we're hitting the end here. Yoel Romero, are you close with Yoel, or?
I'm not super close. George is close with him, but he doesn't train at the big ATT. He kind of trains at like small satellite school. I see him here and there.
Is he just driving around town like Rolls Royces these days, and he's got?
I don't know what he drives in. Last time I saw him was like when George had that grappling match with Pettis like a few months back.
Got it.
Yoel grappled the same night against somebody, and they were warming up together backstage in this tiny little room that was all cement, and Yoel and George are just like hand fighting, smashing each other around this little tiny room. Like, dude, somebody's gonna get like their head
really
smashed
hurt
on the wall.
Get really hurt.
Just the way he moves, man. He's so never seen an athlete anything like this guy, right? He's a freak, man. Like
Scary.
So quick and powerful and agile. Like when he makes a movement, it's like an animal.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That fight with him and Whitaker, that first one, is he moves so fast, like a lion or like a tiger, like killing.
It's like a gorilla had
Yeah.
sex with a tiger and they had a child.
Yeah. Just the balance and the when he leaps, how like a cat will leap at like its prey.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
The Chris Weidman knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like ridiculous.
I just rewatched
Rest
those
in peace,
fights.
Chris Weidman.
I just rewatched those fights a couple weeks ago again. The Whitaker Yoel fights, just to like study them, man.
Some of the best of all time, right there.
Yeah, really awesome fights.
Yeah. Shoot.
Yeah,
man. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I would love to see Yoel still fight, and I would love to see a prime Yoel versus Adesanya.
His fight with Paulo Costa was nuts. That was such a muscular fight.
Yeah.
There was so much muscle, and it was awesome.
It was like two G.I. Joe figurines.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, like when you used to play as a kid, like you just like hit them against each other, and that's what they were doing.
Could you imagine what Yoel would have been like if he would have started MMA when he was like 20 or something? When did he have his first fight? How old was he when he had his first fight?
37, 36. He was not a kid.
But if he would have started earlier, he might not have got that lawsuit, and then he
wouldn't be a millionaire.
He wouldn't be bougie now.
What a freak!
What a freak! I'm so happy when that went through. Yeah, he fought in 2009 was his first fight.
10 years.
And what was it? What year was
34.
So he was 34 years old.
34, 33. Because he's like 44 now, right?
No, he's like
42.
42.
He's
Okay.
42. His birthday is April 30th, 1977.
Was it early 30s when he started? What?
He was 32 when he started MMA.
Good for him. Good for him. Well, I think we covered a lot, right? I think we did good.
Quite a
We did
bit.
good.
We
That was
it's
fun.
always
the-
great to have the coach of the year.
Coach
by my
of
side.
the year. We're
I
we're
coached
almost
this
coming
guy a
up
couple of
on
times.
Coach
So,
of
like,
the Decade, right? We're almost they got to give out the Decade Award soon, right? You got to be in the running for that.
Yeah, this is like multiple time coach of the year. You definitely in there.
Right? They got
I
to do
learned,
that.
I learned so much from this cat. Like no
Same here.
BS, man.
Same
Like
here.
so much, so much.
That's where I always learn the most stuff. Like me and you just messing around,
Just playing.
playing around. I still think that's the best thing to do now because I learned so much from you. I have guys try to do it. Hey man, just like get two guys, no ego, just kind of play around, talk about technique. Oh, what was that? Oh, that's cool.
Wednesday nights was our play dates. We train
Yeah.
early in the day, and then Wednesday night we get in the ring, put on little gloves, and just move. Real light, not trying to kill each other. Just move
Yeah.
around, feel techniques, really work the technique, but nobody's really fighting to win or lose.
Yeah, no
You
ego.
know, just keeping the technique as perfect as possible.
Oh, what'd you do there? You know, like if somebody did something you liked, oh, show me that. That's kind of cool. You know? That's a
It's a lot
good,
of fun.
good learning pace.
It was a lot of fun.
Hope our fans stayed through 57 minutes of this show and hear the most important nugget if you guys are training right there.
Little nuggets.
Little nugget right there. Hope you guys made it to the end. Hope you guys made it to the end.
Stick around, you might learn something.
Click here, subscribe here, all that stuff.
Pow, pow,
Yeah.
pow.
Wait, you can do that, right? You can make them click here. You can subscribe.
Yeah, I can, but you're just giving me more work. But I can. It's fine. I like work.
Awesome. Squid, thank you very much for setting everything up, being the technological savant that puts the Thugjitsu Master and Squid show together.
Thank you, Mr. Squid.
Thank you for having me. Good
Brown,
luck.
thank you for being
Good
here.
luck to your team. Good luck to everyone. And that's the show.
Jujitsu master and